All right, guys, it's George. Welcome back to the channel. Just to start, thank you so much for everything that we had on the last few videos and also on our socials. It's been great seeing some of you guys just reach out to us just to chat about Sorare and things like that. So keep that coming. If I can ask, if you do like these videos and you like Sorare content in general and also just NBA stuff that we do on the podcast, if you could click the subscribe button. If you like the video, and also drop us a comment. It helps us out more than you can imagine in terms of all of the sort of algos and stuff that YouTube do. So yeah, it would be much appreciated to us, and that's the best Christmas present that you could give me, hence the hat. It is that time of the year on Sorare. It's game week 19, it's the countdown to Christmas special and all of that. Let's jump straight into it. Okay, so scrolling through some of the game week 19 contests that we got here on Sorare, there's all the standard stuff: your limited contender champion, common contender champion, rare contender champion, and super rare. That we're not in those leagues just quite yet. But for game week 19, hence across the holiday period, we got some new competitions in terms of Season of Giving and Deck the Halls. Now, I have had a look at these contests when they first came out, when the game week refreshed from game week 18. Season of Giving, it's an absolutely fantastic initiative from Sorare. All the new players that they would have got from the Global Cup that still haven't necessarily put money into the game. You don't need to ever put money into Sorare in general anyway. But if you haven't put money and you've bought limited rares and so on and so forth, and you have that initial collection of 20 common cards that you got, you can go here and you can enter them in. And you do, granted, there is 57,000. There'll probably be around 65,000 when this shuts, but you do stand a chance at winning a super rare card, albeit a tier 5, but a super rare card nonetheless. They can be 70, 100 pounds, and you can get a good stack of 5 that you can play with, or you can just sell. Same thing with rare tier 4s, tier 5s, and then limited tier 4s and tier 5s. So it's a great thing to do just as the free-to-play version, and if you do really well, you stand to get a good reward out of it. Deck the Halls, I'm not as keen on because, and it's not me, it's still great that they're doing new contests and competitions, but the fact that you can have super rares in here, uniques, there's obviously one of ones anyway, but the fact that you can have super rares and uniques just makes me think that the whales of this game are going to sort of dominate this one, because the bonuses on these super rares are 25%. I believe uniques are 45%. So even if you've got a rare card, like some of my rares that I've got that I've trained up will be in the 18% marks and the 16% marks, but like my Jaylen Brown's 17%, I think he'll tick over to 18 now. But even then, they won't be able to compete necessarily with the super rares. And even if you do finish well, out of the, granted, there's only 4,000 people, you're looking at very small chances of getting a super rare, but you're also looking at not great chances of getting a tier 5 rare. Whereas if you was to play rare contender, a tier 5 rare, you've got to finish in the top 700, give or take. So it's great, but I think it's sort of still focus on contender and champion, and then whatever you have left, I would say just put in Deck the Halls. I wouldn't go out and on a limb and focus on Deck the Halls. But let's jump into my lineups and let's build them now. So we'll start with the Season of Giving. I think this is where you can definitely focus on, given it's the free-to-play version, it's the common versions. I haven't got any of my other teams done yet, so we'll go in here. So just to prefix this as well, only common cards are allowed. Common champion, Season of Giving, sorry. If you go into the details of this, rebounds and assists are worth double. So you don't neglect players that are scoring heavy, but if you can go for people that necessarily tend to get those triple doubles, or the big centers, or your really good playmakers, the rarity if you get in anything more than sort of 12 assists is very, very slim. Rebounds is obviously a different ball game. So when we go into this, Luka's a given. I'm going to play Luka in this, absolute given. Rebounds, assists, walking triple double, that's a given. Giannis, same thing, 8% on him, high scorer. There's no cap, so you could almost just pick your 5 top cards, but I'm not necessarily going to do that. LeBron, he has got a Christmas Day game. LeBron on Christmas Day, different gravy is what it is in terms of that. I would expect potentially triple-double territory for him. I think they're playing the Mavs, so, it would be a great shaft between Luka and LeBron on Christmas Day. Going through the rest of this, so there is likelihoods of I think there's only a few teams that have got double games this week, but it's not that big of a deal for this one. There's no triples, so a single game is fine as well. I am going to go for... I'm tempted by Drew Holiday, but I'm going to keep him. I'm going to take Jason Tatum just for that double. I know it's not the be-all and end-all, but it is nice. And I'm also going to go for Kristaps just on the potential for those rebounds. They're counting double, and you never know. So I think a lot of people have a very similar, if not the same lineup, but we'll wait and see. Percentages on trainings will be a big thing in the season of giving, but only 250 rewards out of 57,000. I'm not going to hold my breath. Jumping into common champion then from this. So we will take Zion against OKC. We'll take Anthony Edwards as well. We'll take Drew Holiday with that double game. We'll scroll them down. Let's have a look in the bargain bucket here for some from L10 ranges. Do I want to go? Grant Williams is nice with 21, but that would leave us with 16. I could go Hartenstein. How's he been doing? It's not great. That 29 would have been an outlier against Charlotte because they can't defend anyone that's above 6'8". Do you know, we'll put Hartenstein in there now. And then we'll jump into contender. We'll quickly build this all in one go as well. So I'll scroll on down. I believe Andrew Wiggins to be back. Dylan Brooks is also there as a potential, actually. I doubt Jar will sit both, but sit one out of the two. But we'll go with him. We'll put Malcolm Brogdon in as well. Leaves us with 18. Did Benedict Mathurin? No, he doesn't. Matisse Thybulls are not a bad option. I don't think Maxi's back anytime soon. Tobias Harris has been really good though, but he'll float around some of the other. He'll either go in that guard or small forward position for the Sixers off the bench. I believe this is 23 to play with. I did like the look of Jeremy Sohan this week. He had a really good game last night, which is annoying because I was trying to buy a rare and now he's gone up. Pokusevski gets the Pels. We'll go with Kuminga just in case the Warriors get blown out again. 27. Does that actually allow us to get in, really? Ivan Zubac against the Sixers. I'm not a fan of. Sengun against the Mavs. Yeah, we'll go Sengun against the Mavs. If I upgrade now Fireball from 8, is there any at the 11s? Thaddeus Young, I'm not going with. No, we'll submit this. I'm not. 3 points is not great, but we'll go for this for contender. We'll jump into the limiteds now and let's see how I can do with them. So I'll quickly run you through my limited contender lineup for this week. So going through this, Darius Bazley, I won last week. Not a bad pickup. He has been out injured for a while, but with an L10 of 13, he's got a lot of upside potential. Nick Richards, 18. He's playing the Lakers. No AD. Could be a Thomas Bryant. He's always coming off the bench for the Hornets. He's been putting up consistent double-doubles quite a lot recently. Not massive ones. It'll be like 11 points, 10 rebounds, or in and around that area. But for an L10 of 18 on a one game with a 7.5%, I'll take. Bradley Beal has come back. He's looking like Bradley Beal, almost 30 points a night in and around there. A couple of assists, couple of rebounds. You might get the odd steal or block. But again, one game against the Kings. The Kings have been really, really good. But I'd still back Bradley Beal to get in and around his L10. I believe Jamal Murray to be out. And when Jamal Murray's out, Bruce Brown comes down from that sort of small forward position that he plays when he's there. Gets a lot of a usage increase due to obviously Jamal Murray not being there as that guard role. 2 games, 7.5% I've got on him for an L10 of 25 across this period. I would back Bruce Brown to get in and around the low to mid 30s is what I'd say. And there's obviously upside that he can do anything more than that. And then also the absolute GOAT of last week, Landry Shamet. I bought him months ago, sort of an off when I saw an auction and he was like £4. Put up I think it was his career high of 31. Helped me win a reward, which we'll jump into in a moment. 2 games again against the Grizz and the Nuggets. I'm pretty confident Devin Booker will be out for the Grizzlies. And if he's out for the Grizzlies, there's a chance they might not risk him for Denver. But, an L10 of 16, he can easily get sort of 30 points again. And that'd be great. So we'll submit that lineup. And we'll also go into the champion, which I've also already built. That was a tongue twister there. So when I was with champion, I think because of the scarcity changes that they made a couple game weeks ago now, it's got a lot more condensed. All the Lucas and Embiids, Giannis's, LeBron's, ADs, JTs that were being played in sort of your rare champion as that you can get away with 2 limited cards have now fallen into limited champion because you're not going to play them in contender. You can't get away with playing a 57 in contender. So realistically now, I truly believe champion, it's still good, but you have to have 3 sort of main guys that you believe can get at least 40 or 50 each, I'd say. And in limited champion, you are only as good as the worst card that you have in this lineup. For me, it'll be Matisse Thybulle this week, but Matisse Thybulle has allowed me to get Julius Randle, John Morant, and Grant Williams in. The thing that I'm quite happy with from this, and it's by absolute sheer luck, it wasn't because I was using Sorare Data's planning tool and you can go in and look and things like that. But I've managed to get someone. Joel Embiid has got 2 games. Julius Randle has got 2 games. John Morant has got 2 games, and they're not back-to-backs for John Morant. Matisse Thybulle has got 2 games, and Grant Williams has got 2 games on a back-to-back. Now, I said at the start that it isn't essential, but it's still nice to have 2 games on the premise that if one of these guys, if they're being blown out or they are blowing someone else out, then there isn't an issue of garbage time and players get sit and stuff like that. So for me, I'm quite confident about this. It will be the be-all and end-all, and if Matisse Thybulle can sort of put up a 20 or something like that is what I need from him. The back-to-back helps him, but it also negates Joel Embiid here. So we'll wait and see, but I'm confident about my limited champion. Jumping into then, let's build my rare content. Actually, do you know what? Let's build rare champion first this week, because I think I'll actually probably do a bit better in rare champion. Jaylen Brown, L10 of 47. I've got him up to 18%. He's got 2 games. Happy with him to be my MVP. He's not the tier 1. I think he is a tier 1 on so rare, but I wouldn't put him in that tier 1 mark for your champion players. His ceiling's high. What's his last few scores been? Like, he has got scope for a 73. I doubt Jason Tatum was playing in that game, or if he did, it was the classic. Oh, Brown has a really good night. Tatum doesn't. Tatum has a really good night. Brown doesn't on so rare scoring. They're a great duo regardless. But he doesn't really tend to exceed his L10 that much. You might be lucky to get a 50, but these 30s will help push it down again. But for me, I'm only ever going to play him realistically in Rare Champion because he'll always be too high to play in Rare Contender. Kelly Oubre will be next. He did get benched, I mentioned the other week, but I think Terry Rozier went down, then he slots back in. But regardless if he comes off the bench or not, he'll always play 30 minutes or more for the Hornets. The Hornets are in a weird state. They're not really great, but he'll always be getting good, consistent points on the call, a few steals, a few blocks, assists, rebounds, and that's what you want from a player. So against the Lakers, we'll wait and see what they do. Next up, we'll have Jeremy Grant as well, L10 of 35. I was concerned about him. I still am. Damian Lillard being there isn't the best, but in terms of his potential numbers for so rare, but you know, he's still got scope to get in and around the L10, and that's what you need for Rare Champion. I think he can definitely get up there in the mid to high 40s, 50s. He's not the best, but he'll do for me for this week. This is a guy I picked up recently. I got a Mikal Bridges. I did see this primarily because, one, if Booker was out, potential higher usage rate. I know he didn't do well the other game against the Wizards. It's not great as well on a 28, but Mikal Bridges is here, double game week, not back-to-backs. I'd like him for this Rare Contender. And now I've got 17 left, and I don't really want to play Seth Curry. His L10's come down really well. I'm trying to sell a Seth Curry right now as we speak. But Seth Curry is only a viable outfit this year if the Nets are winning by a lot, they go into garbage time, Seth Curry will play. Joe Harris is ahead of him, and TJ Warren, I'd also say, is pretty much ahead of him now in usage rate for when the Nets are sitting their main 5 or 6. If they do tend to then completely load manage these guys, Seth Curry is part of it because he's up there. He's 32 now. He came off that long injury. He's not the best. An L10 of 14 does soften the blow. It's not in the 25s that it was before, or the 23s or whatever. But I don't particularly want to play him. So in terms of this from before, and we ran through this last week, I'll jump over to Sorare Data. So I had this L10 of 17, and we can kind of scope who we'd want, and you can see that people have got 2 games and so on and so forth. I'm not going to pick up like a Laundry Shamet. I think he's a great option, but I don't want to pay the inflated price for this particular one game week. Like I said before, I was after a Jeremy Sohan, and then he went up and put, I think, one of his highest scores that he got all year last night. We can double check that. Is it going to work? Oh, I have to do that. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, you put up a 44, which if that's what you're getting off an L10 of 17, you're laughing. But as a result of this, it's now his price has now, I think, gone up. His 3-day average is £77. If we go to this here, we change it to rare. You're looking at now. It's not too much more, but you kind of look here. You could have snagged one for the 60 mark and so on and so forth. I'll probably cave because I will want a good Rare Champion lineup, and there is scope across the 2 games that he's got for him to do that. And he's the greatest. He'd be the best fit there. So Jeremy Sohan will be going into. Sorry, I need to move you back across like this. Jeremy Sohan probably will be in this slot. Let's jump into my rare contender. Right then, so finally, rare contender. Andrew Wiggins has been missing for the past sort of, I'd hazard a guess at 10, nearing on 10 weeks now, game weeks on Sorare. Probably actually maybe a little bit less than that. Can I go to Andrew Wiggins? We'll have a look. Game week 13, the last one. Okay, so not as many, six or seven, including this one. But Andrew Wiggins, I won't be playing these guys. I haven't submitted that champion one yet. Andrew Wiggins will be in the side. I believe Gary Trent Jr. is going to be back. I know there's trade rumors floating about, but he will do for this week. Andrew Nemhard, we can slot in there. The one game's not great against the Heat, but there's always room for Nemhard to have that game if someone sits or gets injured and so on and so forth. We'll look through Miles McBride at an L10. Let's put Andrew Nemhard back in there. Miles McBride of an L10 of 10. 2 games as well, 17%. I'm confident he'll hit that. His floor seems to be 10 recently, especially since Cam Reddish has gone. There is scope for him to get near double it, but I'm not expecting a 50 out of McBride. And then Dwight Powell, I picked up a couple of weeks ago, L10 of 11. I know he had that thigh injury, but 2 games again. He might sit one of them because they're back-to-backs on the 24th and the 25th. But again, there is scope for that sort of 20 mark, and you'll take that on here. You're sort of hoping that Andrew Wiggins goes and puts up those 49s, those 60s, those 57s for me. Gary Trent, he'll be in and around his L10. The thing that I'm toying with the idea of is that I could get rid of Gary Trent because I'm not 100% positive on him. I believe he was questionable still. If there's news that he comes out, I might play him. But again, I've got an L10 of 31 there if I play the rest of these guys. If I jump back over to Sorare Data and we move that L10 up to 31. Was it 31? Or was it 32? 31. So if we get it, 31. So the way that this works is that L10, Brunson's 31 there. He's projected 41, which is the difference here. And to go through this, 2 games, Brunson looks great. Same thing with RJ Barrett. I don't know if there's any other Knicks guys there. I'd want one of these guys, but because of this, obviously they're getting inflated prices. So this is where you have to decide for yourself. And obviously, none of this is financial advice. We always go through this. I'm not as keen on Jalen Brunson because I think a lot of people are going to see that plus 10 there. And as a result, his price is no doubt gone up quite a bit. Yeah, you can see the graph here. He's at his all-time median high. He's going above that. And before the lock, he'll definitely be going above that. But if we go through these here, RJ Barrett, I'd be keen on. Mikal Bridges, like I said, I've already picked up. Spencer Dinwiddie, though, is looking quite nice to me. He's in and around his median price. He's not as inflated for it. He's always been around here. He's got those 2 games. And if Luka sits one, his usage rate will fly. And this is the thing with the Mavs. You can scoop him up for around the 90 quid mark. So I'm tempted. I'll have a look. I'll probably go Spencer Dinwiddie or RJ Barrett. Brunson's pretty much out of the question for me. But if we go through this here, I think both of those, regardless, would be better fits than Gary Trent Jr. And I would be content. I would expect sort of a low tier 5 reward out of this lineup for it. But it all depends on Andrew Wiggins. So then just to finish off the video at the end here, we'll jump through my rewards from this current game week. We will move on from limited contender very, very quickly. It just didn't work. Corey Joseph, he's meant to get in and around. I don't know what's going on there with these guys here, but Corey Joseph, he was meant to get some more minutes and things like that. Just didn't happen in the backup unit. Normally, there were signs of him recently getting. He can get those high 20s on an L10 of 13, those mid 20s on an L10 of 13. Sorry. But, it's not really going his way recently for it. I'm not really fussed from limited contender. I knew it was done as soon as Scotty Barnes put up a 10 and a 14 for me. Bruce Brown, Bagley, Richards, in and around it, what you'd expect. Limited champion, it was off to an absolute blinder with Vanderbilt getting 51 against the Pistons on an L10 of 27, I think he is, yeah. So I was looking really confident. Mo Wagner got a 41. Great pickup again from my last video. Embiid 58, can't moan at it. It's what you expect from him. And a Randall 52. I was expecting a little bit more from Julius Randle, especially against the Raptors from it, but I think they ended up sitting quite a lot of the last sort of 8 minutes in the fourth quarter. And Jalen Duren 33. look, it's good. You can't moan at it. It's 10 above his L10, but it's not. Limited Champion is so contested now that even with this, which is a relatively decent score, I'd say you want around the 250 mark. It's a tier 4, which is still good. You're not going to moan at rewards, but a tier 4 for a decent lineup. A top 100 though in limited all offense, and I think I was 30th before last. Oh no, I was 70th before last night, 30th before the night before that. Sorry, and all down to Laundry Shamit's career high against the Wizards. I can't say I absolutely predicted this whatsoever. I knew there was doubts, and the Suns haven't looked. I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it. We've touched on this on the podcast before. The thing with Shamit the thing with the Suns right now is that if Booker goes down, you'd expect CP3's rate to go up and him perform really well. And he's doing it, but not to the rate of which you'd expect. And I just got niced by the fact of that Shamit went mad and he got like 35 minutes. So, Booker out for Friday again. I'm going to play him again. But yeah, this could have been even better because the way that the offensive tournament works, I think they boosted the points on some guys. But Buddy Hield getting 25 was the disappointment here. I think Buddy Hield's L10's around the 30 mark. And I know it's against the Celtics and they're a good defensive side. 31, yeah, as well. But I was hoping for a bit more. And sort of if he goes for those, if he got another 10 or, another 15, we're looking to get in and around the top 50 mark, which then would have been a tier 2 reward. But, we'll take a tier 3. It will be on the lower end as we are 99th out of 100 in those tier 3s. But I think you can get some decent tier 3 cards. Let's see, because they do jig them about a bit. Like I saw that Dennis Schroeder was in tier 2, and that's not on. Cameron Payne's in the tier 3. Karis LeVert's a tier 3. Buddy Hield's a tier 3. Vanderbilt, yeah, there's good cards here. So we'll wait and see, and we'll cross our fingers and we'll see what we get. I don't know what this is here. Starter bundles. I don't think that's something new that might be coming. But yeah, so that's everything there. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you did enjoy this, please do drop a like, drop a subscribe. Let us know what you want us to see and do on Sorare as well, because I'm going to be doing a few more bits and pieces. I'm going to run through sort of my initial first 2 months on Sorare, what I've done, what I've learned, what I wouldn't do, what I would advise for people, and so on and so forth. And yeah, if you haven't signed up to Sorare already and you've watched all of this video, then that's mental to me. And it means that you should be playing Sorare, in my opinion. So there is a link down below that will give you 23 cards. And also, if you buy 5 cards, you'll get 1 free, I'll get 1 free, and everyone wins there. So yeah, make sure you're following us across all of our socials as well. We're on @SwingmanPod. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Have a very Merry Christmas, a great New Year, and yeah, peace.